right, welcome in. This is your Lunar New Year vision boarding workshop. So I hope you're excited to get a little bit creative here. It's going to be a little interactive, and I'll give you some time to do a little bit of journaling as we go. So it's more of an introspective exercise rather than just the creative vision boarding. So it's going to allow you to really get clear about your intentions for the upcoming cycle that's starting today on the Lunar New Year. And we'll talk a little bit through like the year of the fire horse, what that means, some numerology for the year of 2026, as well as just goal setting in general and how we can really use intuitive and guided goals to manifest the things that we want out of life. So if you are ready, I'll give you a few seconds. Go ahead and grab some supplies if you have them for vision boarding, so we have them handy. You're going to want either like a poster board or a big piece of paper, a few newspapers or magazines, or if you want to do a digital tool, you can use Canva or any other tool that you have for like kind of pasting different pictures together in one view. If you're doing a real board, you'll want like either tape or glue stick, something to actually get everything down on the board. And then of course, you'll need a journal and a pen. So I'll give you a minute here if you want to go and grab that. If you're watching this on replay, you can press pause. Press pause here. I'm going to get started in a second. Welcome in, welcome in. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm so excited to be here. I just love using these dates in the calendar and in the lunar cycle to really set powerful intentions. It's something that I do quite often myself. I actually vision board on a quarterly basis. So I do it quite often, but I do think the beginning of a new year, a new cycle, is such an excellent time to really like slow down, do some reflection, and set goals for the upcoming year. And goal setting, fused with manifestation, is so powerful because it helps you to create a plan on how to get to your actual goals and like what your intentions really are. It helps to really improve like your motivation moving towards those things. It can also help you to develop a growth mindset. So if you think about like a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset, fixed is very like, I'm this person, I'm never going to change, and this is just how I am. Whereas a growth mindset is knowing that you are malleable, that you can learn, you can gain skills, you can overcome challenges, and you can essentially expand your identity into who you want to be. And that might change. And it should change. We evolve over our lives, and it's really important to take inventory of like where we're at and where we want to go. So goal setting is so important for that reason as well. It provides a lot of accountability. So if you're someone who actually wants to work towards a specific manifestation or a specific goal, it's important that you are holding yourself accountable and you're taking the action required in order to call that into your reality. So it's really great to have some guidelines around that or some guardrails so that you know if you're like on track and you're making progress towards the goal. I will also say it definitely boosts confidence once you hit those little milestones, or especially if you hit one of your manifestations or goals. You get this like feeling of, I can do it. I put my mind to this. I said this was my intention, and I eventually arrived here. And you can use that as motivation for the future and data to know that I actually was able to do something really hard and I made it happen. And that really helps you rewire your brain when thinking about new things in the future. If you see another goal that you want to achieve, or you think of something else that you see someone else has, you have the ability within you to find that resourcefulness, to find that intention and make your way towards that goal and eventually achieve that goal. It provides a lot of opportunity for more clarity and self discovery, because how are we supposed to really ever know what we want to do or what we want to work towards if we don't take the time to actually sit down and really think about it and get super specific on what it is we want? Because you might have these ideas or things just kind of bouncing around in your head, but if you don't actually put pen to paper and take a moment to, or a few moments to really dial in to what you want, it may never come to fruition. That's why it's so important to write things down, say things, speak them into existence on top of aligned action and really embodying what you want. So, for all these reasons, I find goal setting so, so important when it comes to manifestation work. I really do think the two go hand in hand. And the way that I love to vision board is by fusing this goal setting and manifestation with the actual vision board. So the way I like to do it is write down a goal on the back of the vision board. And then on the front, I actually do the collaging so you can see. Let me just grab an example. So I'll show you really quick. Okay, so this is one of my past vision boards. I love incorporating stickers. I do cutouts from magazines. I sometimes put like little doodles or use pens on them as well. I like to use angel numbers, symbols, words. I even make up phrases sometimes with different cutouts for magazines. So you can see some here. And then on the back, I do my goal. This is one goal. We get really specific with it. This is literally just one goal. So it's important to blend the two, because it really makes them so much more powerful than if you were to be just, sticking a few things on a page. So that is my little example there. I want to talk a little bit about this initiation and portal that we're going into right now, which is why I chose today to do this workshop. So I'm sure many of you have heard, it's been all over social media, but today is the Lunar New Year. And what that means is the Chinese zodiac is switching over to the next chapter. Last year was represented by the year of the wood snake, which was energy tied to being really like strategic, observant. Just think of all the qualities that maybe a snake would have. And that's kind of like what was representative of the energy for the year. Really slow, a lot of growth, expansion, through patience and shedding. That's the big one. And snakes shed their skin, right? So last year was all about the shedding. I don't know about you, but I have most certainly shed a few different identities and layers throughout the past year. Most notably, I would say it was leaving the corporate world. That was a huge piece of my identity. So now doing something different that's really representative for me personally. And everyone I've talked to has felt the same way of like, there's been so many shifts that have happened in the last 12 months. People just kind of shedding old skins, finding that internal like recalibration, and kind of doing some planning work behind the scenes of like really refining what it is you want your identity to be in the future. So it was really about trusting that intuition over making like impulse reactions and decisions. So the year was really less about action, and it was more about this like strategic evolution. So that was kind of representative of the last 12 months. Today, we are stepping into the year of the fire horse. Now, this energy is very different than the wood snake, because think about a horse versus a snake. It's really bold, it's independent, it moves much quicker. It's forward focused, moving forwards. There's a lot of passion there. It's also tied to, leadership, acceleration, and manifestation power. So that's why it's so important that we're focused on the energy for this year. And that's why you've seen probably so many different people talking about it, because this energy really is about action and rewarding action. Fortune favors the bold, right? That's a saying we all know. That is something that will definitely come into play this year. And it's about that momentum that compounds. So if you are showing up consistently, you're putting in the effort, you're taking aligned action, that momentum is what will continue to propel you forward at an expedited rate that you maybe have not seen before. So if we think about last year, the year of the snake, it was more about like this strategizing, whereas the year of the horse is about executing. And the next piece I want to go into is more towards the numerology of the years. So this is another take on it. It's a little bit different. If you haven't heard of numerology before, it is basically when you take the sequence of numbers in any given number. So like 2025, you would take 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. And you would keep adding those down until it is one single digit. So you have 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9, which is already a single digit. So you keep it at 9. So 2025 in numerology, being a 9 year, means that we are completing a cycle. There's a completion energy here, and a letting go. It's closure, it's forgiveness, finding that like emotional clearing, finishing old cycles, and releasing, listen to the words here, releasing old identities. Might I also remind you that what we were just talking about, 2025, was the year of the snake, shedding old identities. So these 2 years, both the numerology and the lunar zodiac cycle, they really go hand in hand. And that's why it's so special, I think, to recognize both sides of this, because whether or not you believe in the Chinese zodiac or you believe in numerology, the energy is there. Like, we can't deny it, right? This is palpable, the energy that's in the air. So if we talk now about 2026, so we talked about 2025, snake, all those things are kind of similar. 2026 in numerology, we would do 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6. So what is that? Do some quick math in your head. That's a 10. 10 is 2 digits. Now we need to break it down to 1 digit. So what's 1 plus 0? That's 1. 1, just think about numbers in general. 1 is the first number. It's number 1. So that energy is all about starting something new. It's about leadership, independence, an initiation of sorts, courage to go first. And what does that sound similar to? The fire horse energy, right? So again, these things go hand in hand. And it's why I was so excited to talk about this today, because this is the energy that you want to be creating those plans and manifestations in. We are officially now in this new timeline, this new cycle. So if we take a moment now to really get intentional with what we want to create in the next cycle, over the next 12 months, it can be extremely powerful. We may see shifts and things starting to materialize and come into reality faster than we have before. And that's because the energy is here to work with us. So as we kind of drop in, I wanted to do a quick meditation with y'all, if you are good with that, just to kind of get us in the right headspace to move forward with the exercise we're going to be doing to create that manifestation or goal, if you will, that we want to create this year, that will then allow us to transition into the actual vision boarding portion. So go ahead and get comfortable. You can feel free to lay down, close down your eyes if that feels good, and just take a moment to check in. I'm going to start playing some music. All right. Take a slow inhale through your nose and a long exhale out your mouth. And exhale. There's nowhere to be, nothing to do. Just feel that presence. Be here. Now picture yourself standing at the edge of a wide open landscape. Maybe it's a desert, forest. Maybe it's a wide open beach. Whatever feels right. Behind you is 2025, the year of the snake. When you look, you see these old snake skins in the ground, habits that you shed, you outgrown, beliefs that might no longer fit. Those old skins, they protected you, they prepared you, they made you who you are today. Now slowly turn around. You see that open landscape in front of you, and in the distance, you start hearing hooves hitting the ground. Feel that hum beneath your feet. This powerful, gorgeous horse approaches you. This horse is not frantic. She is focused. She is strong. She is intentional. She stops in front of you, rears her head. This is your power in motion. Notice how it feels in your body to really step forward towards that horse. Without hesitation, your hand feel its warmth, that heat, vitality, that energy that we're bringing into 2026. Imagine yourself climbing up to the beautiful horse. And as you do, something internally shifts. You are no longer waiting. You are getting up there and you are doing. You are moving, accelerating towards that version of you who already exists. You feel the wind on your face. Feel that confidence. Your direction and where you are headed. As you gallop on this beautiful horse through this landscape, realize that this year is not about small steps. It's about gaining traction, allowing yourself to be visible. As you are allowed to one more deep inhale through the nose and exhale. Now allow one word to come to your mind. Your word is new cycle. Maybe it's momentum, courage, You're ready. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. I hope you enjoyed that. Our quick meditation to drop in before we get into some questions. So now would be a good time to get out your journal, get out your pen, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. So if you're watching the replay, go ahead and you can pause after I ask each question. Give yourself some time to answer, and let's get into it. So the first question is, what did 2025 teach me that I'm ready to apply to 2026? So go ahead, pause the video here, take a few minutes to journal. Number 2 is, what identity am I officially shedding? So which part of your identity are you leaving behind in 2025, in the year of the snake? What is that skin that you have shed? You can pause here. Okay, welcome back. Question number 3, where in my life have I been hesitating? Where in my life have I been hesitating? There's something I'm ready to move forward with. You can pause. Okay, and last question. If I were to trust my momentum, trust that things would start to happen, what would I start today? What is one thing I would start doing today if I could trust that momentum would follow? So just think about that one for a second. You can pause here. All right, welcome back. Now we are going to get into some more journaling questions. These are going to be based around a goal setting framework that I like to use. It's called the SMART method. SMART. A lot of people have heard of SMART goal setting, SMART, but this is SMART. There's an I at the end. S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for accountability, R is for relevant, T is for time bound, and I is for intuitive. And we like to use this framework because it helps to get super clear and drill down on what matters most when working towards a manifestation and a goal. So we'll start out kind of high level, and then we will make it more clear throughout the process. So that's kind of just the baseline. So if you can take your vision board that you have, take your paper. So you might have a blank piece of paper. Take your paper that you plan to vision board on. If you are doing a digital vision board, you can just simply write this down in your journal, and maybe you can type it up on another page of the vision board in the tool that you're using. So you'll want to use that paper if you're doing physical. And my first question for you is, what is one outcome that you would like to create this year? Something that would make like a meaningful shift in your life. Just think through, maybe it's something with career, maybe it's something with a relationship, maybe it's personal development, maybe it's a hobby you'd like to do. Just take a few minutes here and think, what is one outcome that would make a really meaningful shift for you this upcoming cycle? So if you're watching the replay, go ahead and pause here. You can take a few minutes to answer that question. Okay, on to the next. We're on to M, measurable. So my question here is, how will you measure this or know that you have actually achieved this specific outcome? So if you said you want to, land a new job, how will you know that you have achieved that? So it might seem obvious, but I want you to get really specific here and clear about how you will know that you achieved it. That could be by something physical and your reality has changed. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm in a new office, in a new company. Maybe it's a feeling you have. I feel so proud of myself. I have this new title. I have a new pay. So something that will really get specific on how you know you are creating this. So you can pause here. Next up is A, attainable. Does this feel realistic? So go back and read what you wrote for your S, specific outcome, and M, measurable. Does this feel realistic? Think about the maximum that you could do and the minimum that you could do. So say the maximum is at a 10 and the minimum is at a 1. So a 1 would be like, you already have this. It's already something that you do. You already have the job that you want. And a 10 would be something far beyond your wildest dreams that seems completely unattainable. So say you were in an entry level position at a company and you wanted to become the president of the company. So that might be a bit of a stretch. So think about that as the scale 1 to 10 and rate your goal on a scale of 1 to 10. Where does it fall? We ideally want to be somewhere in the 5 to 10 range because that's right in the middle there. It's something that we feel we can achieve, but there's still a bit of room. There's still a bit of stretch. It's not something that's going to be completely in the bag. So go ahead and take a few minutes there. Rate your goal from 1 to 10. How achievable is this? And adjust accordingly. So if it's too low of a score, you might need to make it a little bit easier. So instead of the president, maybe we want to become like a manager. If it's too high, maybe you are an associate, you just want to stay an associate. Okay, no, maybe you want to make it a little bit harder. Let's shoot for that manager level. Make sense? Okay. And R. R is for relevant. This question's simple. Why does this matter to you? Why is this goal important? Why are you thinking about it right now? So really take a moment to answer this because this is important. Why does this goal even matter to you? Is it feeding some sort of long-term vision you have for yourself? Is it tied to your identity that you're stepping into? Really try and do some deeper reflection here. You can pause. On to T, which is our time-bound component. What timeline feels really supportive for accomplishing this goal? So when you think about the goal that you wrote down, we have the specific goal, we have kind of how we know that we achieved it, we have this framework of maybe how achievable it is, we have why it matters. What would feel good to have in place in terms of a timeline? Is this something that you want to have done in the next 2 weeks? Is it something you think may take 3 months? Could it be 6 months? Or maybe this is a really high level goal that you think will take you the entire next 12 months. So it could also take you the full year. So take a moment here, drop into that. What timeline feels good? All right. Moving on to the last section, I. I is for intuitive. And this is a little bit different than most people do it, but I really love incorporating mindfulness and intuition into all the practices that I do. So, of course, we're going to incorporate it into goal setting as well. So, I want you to close your eyes again, like you did before, and just really try and drop in and connect to that intuition for a moment. Let's take another 2 big breaths together. So, you're going to inhale through the belly, up into the chest, and exhale through the mouth. One more time, inhale, connecting, and exhale. Does this goal feel true? Feel true to your soul, to who you are as a person, and what you want? What do you feel physically in your body when you think about this goal? Is it exciting? Is it a little bit scary? What do you feel? And ask your intuition if there are any tweaks that you'd like to make to the goal. Any refinements? Any extra caveats? What else do you need to add or take away from the goal in order for it to really feel in alignment with who you are and where you want to go? All right. And after you've done that, take one final review of your SMARTY goals. You have your outcome, you have how you know you've achieved it, your number of rating for achievability, why it matters to you, a timeline on it, and whether or not there were any intuitive changes that you wanted to make. So at this point, you have all these different things written down. I'd like you to take a few minutes here to summarize and write it in a coherent 1 paragraph. And you're going to write this in past tense. So you're going to write this as if it already happened. This is the key. This is my manifestation trick. You got to write it in past tense. And when you do, really get into that feeling of what it would feel like to actually achieve this goal. You see this manifestation fully come to life in your reality. How does that make you feel? And once you can really harness into that feeling, then you start writing your paragraph. So you can pause here, take a few minutes, take as long as you need, and summarize and write your little paragraph. All right, when you're ready, welcome back. Now the buildup is done and it's time to get into actual vision boarding. So a little bit of vision boarding 101. What you're going to want to do first is browse for images, pictures, words, numbers, anything that kind of catches your eye. And whether you're doing that physically in magazines and newspapers or you're searching those images online, you're really going to want to spend some time just browsing and seeing what sticks out to you, what calls to you, and cut out anything that you think you might want to use. Now, one tip I have, if you're doing a physical vision board, it actually probably helps for digital boards as well. But like, I'll show you this one here. Do you see in the background? The background I have bigger images. Like this is a big picture of a bookshelf. So I like to cut out bigger images and then put the smaller ones on top and the stickers on top. And this helps it to just have this more cohesive feel to it. It's just more aesthetically pleasing that way. So if you want to find some bigger images and then some smaller ones, that kind of helps to balance it out. And you're going to want to lay everything down before you actually glue it to the paper. So you can And I guess for digital, you can edit it as much as you want. So it doesn't matter quite as much for digital. But for the physical boards, just kind of lay things out first, get everything in a place where it looks nice, it feels good, and then you can go ahead, tape it down, glue it down. And then you'll add some final touches on top if you want to add any like little stickers, glitter. If you have pens or paint, you can add little emphasis on there. Anything that really speaks to you there. So you can get super creative with that. And once you're done, you're going to want to read that goal again on the back, the little paragraph that you wrote. So it'll look something like this. You might have your time-bound piece on the top, the time-bound piece right here. It'll say the months and the days that you are going to be doing this. So in this case, if you are doing the full calendar year for this new cycle, you would say February 2026 to February 2027. You would write that at the top. You have your paragraph. So you're going to read that again, revisit it, just really soak it in, look at your beautiful vision board, and then don't skip this step. You are going to hang it or put it somewhere that you can see it. So maybe it's in your room, maybe it's on a bookcase, a bookshelf somewhere, maybe you hang it on your mirror of your bathroom. But this is such an important part. You want to be able to see it every day. So you're kind of like subconsciously being reminded of what it is that you're working towards without directly seeing the text on the back. So the text on the back is going to stay hidden. You will only see the front of the vision board. So you'll have that hanging up somewhere in your house or in your room. It's also just like such a fun detail to have anywhere. It really looks nice, and it's a fun conversation starter too. If someone comes over and sees it, you can tell them about your fun vision boarding workshop. Amazing. Well, that about does it. I hope you have enjoyed this vision boarding workshop for the Lunar New Year, and I'm wishing you all the best. So many blessings for this upcoming cycle. You're the fire horse. We got this, baby. And I am so freaking excited to see how your manifestations unfold. So please let me know how it goes. I would love to hear how things how things go the rest of the year. So definitely keep me in the loop. Tag me if you do make your vision board and you want to post it. I would love to see all of those different creative vision boards that we have going. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. It is such an honor to be here in this space with you, and I'm looking forward to our next workshop. I will see y'all later. Peace.